Hello, and thank you for joining me on this ASMR video. This is actually my first ASMR video. I've been making YouTube videos for quite some time, off and on, mainly around fragrances, but I felt it was time to take my channel in a completely new direction. One of the types of videos that I listen to quite a lot is ASMR videos, purely for relaxation, and I thought, well, why not combine the two, fragrances and ASMR in one. So hopefully this video, which will move from sort of whispering like this to occasional sort of hopefully fairly soft voice, hopefully this will be both informative and relaxing, but do cut me a bit of slack because this is the first ASMR video that I have attempted to make, so hopefully this will be okay. And the topic of this video today is again going to be fragrances. We're going to go through a few bottles of fragrances from my collection, which I love, but unfortunately have been sadly discontinued, which means they're not manufactured anymore and you can no longer purchase them for your enjoyment. Just a quick point on this as well. A lot of these bottles are what we call flankers. And what a flanker means is it's a new, different interpretation of an already established fragrance. So fragrance houses will put out different versions of something that's already a big seller, just to sort of give people something a little bit different. And these are often available only for a very short period of time. So we kick things off with this one that you'll see right there in front of you. It is Armani Code Profumo. Now, in the past, in my normal fragrant videos, I have said that the flankers from the Armani Code range are 10 a penny because there has been literally dozens of them over many years, because the Code range goes back to about 2004, and there's been a long list of flankers from that range, some good, some not so good, but this one in my opinion was the best, by far and away the best, and it's Code Profumo. Off the top of my head, this came out in around about 2015, 2016, and really gives something different to the already established Armani Code DNA. It gave it kind of orange zestiness that the original didn't have, and some people also say that it smells like vanilla Coke, which I completely get. It's a very sort of rich evening fragrance. Also in my experience as well, a great complement getter with decent sillage, which is, if you just here for the ASMR and you don't really know about fragrances, sillage is the sort of scent bubble that it emits. So great sillage, and also it has fantastic longevity, which means that you spray it on and you get quite a good few hours out of it. One thing that I've noticed when I was picking these fragrances out as well is that quite a lot of these fragrances come from Italian designer houses, such as this next one, which goes back really quite some time, and this is Dolce & Gabbana Masculine. Now this brings back really good memories for me because I wore this quite heavily in the mid-2000s, when I was in my early 20s. It's a really light, sort of summery fragrance, and oh, pardon me, I think I've got a bit of gas there. It came out in about 1999. I don't know what point it was discontinued, but it hasn't been around for a long time, this fragrance. But a really nice, pleasant summery fragrance. Quite similar to a very cheap fragrance that you can buy from the house of David Beckham, which is this one, Instinct. Now I don't believe that is discontinued. I feel that you can still pick that up in quite a number of places for not very much money, but I've just put it in there to put in comparison because it is quite similar to Masculine, at least to my nose anyway. Next one is this bad boy. I'm just going to scoot this across here, and this is pure malt from the house of Thierry Mugler. What can we tell you about this one? Well, it's quite unusual, it's quite unique in the respect that it has a whiskey accord. Obviously it's called pure malt, it came from the Amen line, which again has all been sadly discontinued. And not so long ago you could pick this up relatively inexpensively. It was only about £40–50 in the UK. And it is a really great fragrance. Obviously it's quite heavy, it's quite boozy as you would expect with the whiskey accord in there, but you don't smell like a backstreet brewery. It's refined, it's sweetened, it's very nice. It's actually quite a sort of addictive fragrance as well. But we've been discontinued, as you can see. I've not used a lot of it because I've been using it very sparingly now that I'm not in a position to replace it, unfortunately. But yeah, another nice one there, which is no longer around. Now this next one, and there's no number on this, I've got about 7. I started off with 5 and I just sort of kept adding to it, picking up newer fragrances. Oh god, that's discontinued as well, I'll mention that. And this one really does, another one that goes back in time. Now excuse that the bottle's not very clean. This is Story from Paul Smith. Probably not one that would get a lot of recognition in the fragrance community. And again, it goes back some time. I believe this was, I know exactly when it was launched because I bought it when it came out originally. That was in 2006. And this used to be my sort of go-to office scent for probably 2 years, between sort of 06 and 08. Again, really nice, sort of inoffensive fragrance. It kind of stands out but doesn't. It's not sort of in your face, but it's not sort of there doing nothing in the background. It was a really good fragrance in its day, and again, like I say, no longer around. Speaking of no longer around, back to the flankers, because this one is Stronger With You Freeze, and this one is again from Armani, although this is the Emporio Armani line, not the Giorgio Armani as with Code Profumo. And flanker 2, as you can guess, Stronger With You, which is a more sort of date type, sort of evening kind of fragrance. But this one is a more sort of refined, toned down, cooled out kind of summery fragrance, as you can imagine by the name Freeze. It is really quite a cool fragrance, but it still has some of those sort of spices and other little bits and pieces that do sort of come through, which makes it really, really kind of pleasant. So we've only got a few more, not long to go. I'm just going to have a quick sniff of this one because I've not smelt it for some time. This next one. Yep, really, really quite nice, and that is L'Homme Ideal Cologne from Galan, and again it's one of those sort of clean, summery kind of fragrances. It's sort of really kind of, I don't know, it's oddly warm, but yet kind of clinical at the same time. I think if some people were to label a kind of criticism of this fragrance, they would say it does have to some extent a kind of cleaning product kind of vibe. But I kind of like that. I kind of like fragrances that smell fresh and clean. But this has this also has a creamy kind of element to it as well. I've really not worn this in a long time, which is why I want to spritz a little bit on myself and you know, reminisce a little bit there before I told you what it's like. So yeah, really good one. I mean, again, this was one that you could not so long ago pick up fairly cheap. I think I bought this from, of all places, TK Maxx, which, if you're watching outside of Europe, is TJ Maxx, the obviously the large-scale discount store, and it wasn't very much money. But as with all discontinued fragrances, when you cannot get them anymore, people sell them used second-hand, and the prices skyrocket quite a bit. Next one. Oops, just knocked something over there. So hopefully that wasn't too unrelaxing. The next one in this list is this bad boy here, and it's another Dolce & Gabbana, and it's called The One Gentleman. Now, The One, the main fragrance, is really a sort of superstar date type fragrance, very sort of warm, rich, evening kind of cuddly fragrance. This one isn't. This one's a bit more, I mean, it has some elements of the original as you would expect from a flanker, but this one has a more of a, the word, more sort of slightly more feminine, more of a perfumey kind of vibe. Again, I'm just going to give it a quick smell, just excuse the noise of those balls clanking together. But yeah, I mean, the weird thing with this one is it kind of, because it's a little bit floral, it kind of always reminded me of Turkish Delight. Weirdly, I know that might sound a bit odd if you were to go away and look at the notes for this fragrance, but you know, you get these kind of weird vibes from fragrances. As I say, the one at the back, called Profumo, that's often been compared to Vanilla Coke. You know, sort of, they have these gourmandy elements, and just to explain what gourmand means, gourmand is something that smells like something you want to eat. Now, this one here, The One Gentleman, kind of, I wouldn't call it a gourmandy fragrance because it is kind of more clinical and a bit floral, but it does, as I say, it does have that reminder, to me at least, of Turkish Delight, but that might be just my nose because everyone's unique and we all get something a little bit different from these bottles and these fragrances. So each to their own, I suppose. And then we're going to move on to the very final fragrance in this list. As I say, I started off with the idea of just covering off 5, and we kind of spiraled from there a little bit. So we've looked at 7 so far. So this will be number 8. And again, we're back in the realms of flankers from Italian designer brands. This is one that's probably not very well known internationally or even in the fragrance community, because it's a flanker of a fragrance that probably didn't get the love it deserved. And this one is Roberto Cavalli Umo. Again, I'm just going to push these bottles back a little bit so don't mind that clanking noises. Some of you may even like that noise. But this one is Cavalli Umo, and it's called Silver Essence. Now again, Umo was one of those kind of winter, cut through the air kind of you know, sharper fragrances, whereas this was the more refined, toned down version. Still has those woods and spices that was in the original fragrance, but this is that more refined, cooled down kind of element, a bit like Strong Wave Euphrasia has. I mean, those two fragrances in no way, shape or form smell alike, but they're in the same ballpark in the respect that they are that sort of smoothed out, cooled down, summery flanker vibe of something that was more more punchy, more in your face. But again, you know, it's a really lovely fragrance. Once more, that not so long ago you could pick up for reasonable prices, but as with all of these fragrances, prices have gone up considerably once they're discontinued, because you just can't get your hands on them anymore. So if you need to buy them, or you want to buy them for, you know, your own enjoyment, or in my case sometimes even just for nostalgic purposes, you've really got to get your wallets out and be prepared to shell out, because price has gone up quite a lot. I mean, probably not massively more compared to some of the other fragrances here. Certainly not as much as pure malt's gone up in price, but yeah, you definitely need to spend much more than you would have done originally if you want to get a hand on a bottle of this juice. So hopefully this has been a good first ASMR video. As I said at the outset, I hope that this in some way has been informative, but also I hope it's been somewhat relaxing. Told you about a few fragrances that I love that have been sadly discontinued, and in some respects I hope by the time you got to this video you've maybe even drifted off to sleep, so these words I'm saying now, you won't hear them, they'll just be noise in your ear to help you have that nice regenerative snooze. That's the reason why I watch ASMR videos, because I've always had issues with sleep. I wouldn't say I was in any way, shape or form an insomniac, but I've always struggled to drift off. It sometimes takes me, several hours to switch my brain off, and I've always found that very soft, whispered fragrance, sorry, not even fragrance, videos and on any real matter has always helped me just drift off and get that nightful, that restful sleep that I need. Anyway, that's it for me. We'll see how it goes with ASMR videos. If this is a success and many people watch it and want more videos, and I will endeavour to produce more and hopefully try and put videos out a bit more often than I do, because I know that it's not something that I've been particularly consistent at. But anyway, that's enough of me blabbering on as always for now, so thank you very much for watching, and please check out my other videos, like and subscribe if you can, because that does very much help me out. Anyway, thank you.